What secret teachings did Jesus reveal? Was Mary Magdalene just a disciple, or did she turn out to be the carrier of Jesus' greatest secret? What if Christian history was actually very different from what we know? A hidden teaching, a woman's deep relationship with Jesus, and why the church covered all this up. The journey of seeking lost wisdom and hidden truths begins. Welcome beyond the darkness. In our previous video, we explored forbidden Christian sects. If you haven't watched it, you can find it in the description box or in the comments. By the way, most of the viewers still haven't subscribed. If you enjoy our content, you can support us by subscribing to the channel. Today, we're going on a journey to uncover the story that history books never told. Have you ever wondered who Mary Magdalene really was? And why her secret gospel was hidden by the church? If the Gospel of Magdalene had surfaced, would Christian history have evolved in a unique direction? Who was Mary Magdalene? Was she really just a simple woman, as the church has told us? Or was she someone with deep secrets hidden in the teachings of Jesus? At first glance, the name of Mary Magdalene has always had a bad reputation in Christian history. The traditional narrative presents her as one of Jesus' closest followers, but also as a sinful woman. However, recent research and discoveries provide a completely different perspective on the identity of Mary Magdalene. Throughout history, the church has generally portrayed Mary Magdalene as a sinner and a fallen figure. According to the fundamental doctrines of Christianity, Mary was a woman purified of her sins by Jesus. But do we really know who Mary Magdalene truly was? Now, let's move beyond the traditional narrative and examine a different viewpoint. In Gnostic texts, Mary Magdalene's role is placed in a completely different context. There are texts showing that she was not only a follower of Jesus, but also someone who possessed the deepest secrets of Jesus' teachings. Gnosticism is a philosophical movement that advocates for knowledge to be obtained through direct and personal discovery, and it was highly influential in the early days of Christianity. In Gnostic texts, Mary Magdalene is depicted not only as a disciple or follower, but also as a teacher of Jesus. Many Gnostic writings reflect that the special teachings Mary received from Jesus are part of a profound body of knowledge she used to enlighten his other followers. According to these texts, her teachings provide important guidance on spiritual awakening and individual wisdom. In traditional Christian belief, Mary remained merely a disciple who followed Jesus. However, Gnostic teachings and recent research reveal that the relationship between Mary Magdalene and Jesus was much deeper. So, what does this depth imply? Some scholars suggest that Mary Magdalene was Jesus' wife or his closest spiritual partner. Gnostic texts hint that there was not only a physical connection between Jesus and Mary, but also a spiritual bond. One of the most famous Gnostic texts, the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, emphasizes this relationship and Mary's capacity to understand Jesus' teachings. Many researchers believe that Mary Magdalene communicated with Jesus on a level that no other figure in Christian history did. This may carry traces of a wisdom that has been lost or hidden over time. Uncovering the true identity of Mary Magdalene not only helps us understand her historical role, but also uncovers clues to the deepest teachings of Christianity. Her identity challenges not only the place of a woman in the Bible, but also questions how women were represented in religious texts historically. With all these different perspectives, it becomes inevitable that when we assess the identity of Mary Magdalene from a broader viewpoint, we see how much it deviates from the figure the Church has presented to us. Her role in Gnostic texts. makes her much more than just a disciple. So, what is her true identity? Was Mary Magdalene merely a figure who followed Jesus' teachings, or was she truly the carrier, protector, and closest spiritual partner of these teachings? The answer to these questions points to a much deeper exploration. If Mary was indeed Jesus' closest spiritual partner, how might this have impacted Jesus' teachings? The Gospel of Mary Magdalene. Have you ever heard of it before? And have you ever thought about how much significance this text holds and how it could transform the Christian faith? This manuscript is a treasure, hidden in mystery, banned and lost throughout history. The Gospel of Mary Magdalene takes its name from one of history's most controversial figures, Mary Magdalene. However, this text is not an ordinary gospel story. In fact, it is a source of knowledge that has been banned and hidden countless times throughout history. To understand this text, we must first learn about its history, how and where it was discovered. Where and when was this manuscript found? The modern rediscovery of the Gospel of Mary Magdalene took place in 1945 in a cave in Nag Hammadi, Egypt. A group of local farmers discovered this cave, which contained ancient papyri and manuscripts. However, only one of these texts belonged to the Gospel of Mary Magdalene. As one of the 13 ancient texts discovered in the Nag Hammadi library, the Gospel of Mary Magdalene was a significant historical discovery. However, the journey of how this text reached historical records was much more complex than we might think. The text had been kept secret during the early days of Christianity, banned by the Church, and hidden away because its teachings contradicted the prevailing religious doctrines of the time. Unlike other gospel texts, the Gospel of Mary Magdalene reveals unknown aspects of Jesus' life and teachings. The content of the Gospel sheds light on Mary Magdalene's special relationship with Jesus, as well as the deeper, more spiritual aspects of Jesus' teachings. In this text, the special wisdom Mary received from Jesus is presented alongside the profound mystical teachings she passed on to his followers. At the time, the Gospel was strongly banned by the authorities of the Church because its teachings contradicted the doctrine that was being spread during the rise of Christianity. Many historians and scholars believe that the Gospel of Mary Magdalene could have fundamentally changed the understanding of Christianity. Had these texts been accepted by the public, Christianity might have taken a completely different direction. What is in the text? The content of the Gospel of Mary Magdalene contains not only Jesus' teachings, but also important knowledge about the depths of the human soul and consciousness. The Gospel stands out for presenting the special wisdom Mary received from Jesus. Mary did not merely touch on the surface of Jesus' teachings, but also explored the deeper and hidden meanings of these teachings. One of the most frequently discussed teachings in the Gospel is the awakening of the soul. According to this text, Jesus taught people not only to understand the outer world, but also their inner world. Mary passed this wisdom on to the other followers, but over time, these teachings were suppressed and forgotten. Why was it banned by the Church? Why did the Church find the Gospel of Mary Magdalene's teachings so dangerous? The answer lies within the content of the text. The Gospel of Mary Magdalene contains some radical claims that contradict many of the Church's teachings. In particular, the way it takes Jesus' teachings to a more mystical and personal level posed a threat to societal hierarchies. Its emphasis on individual connection with God, beyond traditional dogmas, undermined the control of Christian authorities at the time. The Gospel emphasizes teachings about individual wisdom and inner exploration, These teachings encourage individuals to embark on their own inner journeys and establish a direct relationship with God. However, religious leaders of the time saw this type of individual discovery as a threat because it could weaken the power and teachings of the Church. The Gospel of Mary Magdalene is not just a religious text, but also a source of wisdom that has been lost and ignored. The content of this text is so deep and powerful that it could have changed the course of Christian history. After years of being banned and hidden, this text, now uncovered, solves a significant historical mystery. So, if the Gospel of Mary Magdalene had been accepted by the public, what direction would Christianity have taken? If the spiritual depths of Jesus' teachings had reached a wider audience, what kind of world would it be today? The teachings of the Gospel of Mary Magdalene were seen as a serious threat by the religious authorities and ruling powers of the time. However, the philosophy behind these radical ideas raises questions not at just one period, but all of human history. So, what were these teachings? The content of the Gospel of Mary Magdalene is not just a narrative of Jesus' teachings, but also contains a radical spiritual journey and understanding. These teachings encompass a series of profound thoughts that contradicted the dominant Christian teachings of the time. The Church saw the content of the Gospel as a threat because these teachings could change the beliefs of the people and create a new worldview. The ideas of spiritual awakening and individual wisdom promoted by the Gospel were at odds with the social structure of the time. Christianity, with its hierarchical structure, sought to maintain social order, while these teachings emphasized personal inner exploration. This could have weakened the Church's need for control and authority. According to the teachings in the text, Jesus' message was focused on direct communion with God and preaching spiritual wisdom through personal experience. For the Church, however, these teachings represented not only a spiritual bond, but also the loss of power. If people could communicate directly with God, there would be no need for the Church's mediation. One of the most striking and controversial teachings of the Gospel of Mary Magdalene is that Mary Magdalene was Jesus' closest follower. According to the Gospel, Mary was not only a disciple or loyal follower of Jesus, but also his most important spiritual advisor. Jesus confided his deepest secrets to her, and she was tasked with transmitting this wisdom to the other followers. This was a huge threat to the Church. Christianity at the time was shaped in a male-dominated society. The idea of women holding religious leadership positions threatened the existing hierarchical structure. The rise of Mary Magdalene would require a redefinition of women's roles in religious life. However, such ideas were disturbing to the male-dominated religious structures of that era. The Gospel of Mary Magdalene also contains important information about mystical teachings and the evolution of souls. The text describes a process of spiritual transformation and stresses the need for individuals to embark on their inner journeys. These teachings highlight an aspect often overlooked in mainstream Christianity: inner enlightenment and individual spiritual salvation. The text speaks of the soul's journey back to its original source and an evolutionary process. Jesus is depicted as the teacher showing the way to this source. But these ideas went beyond the teachings of the Church. The Church believed that spiritual salvation could only be achieved through the Church, while the Gospel argues that individuals could reach unity with God through their own inner journey and wisdom. So why were the Gospel of Mary Magdalene and similar texts banned? The answer dates back to the Council of Nicaea in 325. The Council of Nicaea was one of the most pivotal moments in Christian history. At this council, the fundamental teachings of Christianity were being established, and all different beliefs were to be unified under a single dogma. The main goal of the Council of Nicaea was to reconcile the different interpretations of Christianity. However, in this process, alternative teachings and texts were rejected and banned. The Gospel of Mary Magdalene, like other texts, contradicted the official teachings of Christianity, which focused solely on Jesus' nature and death. Therefore, these texts were hidden from the public and suppressed. The teachings of the Gospel of Mary Magdalene were banned by the Church and hidden from the public throughout history. However, the resurgence of these teachings today raises an important question. If these teachings had been widely accepted, how would Christianity have developed? And how would society have transformed? The Gospel of Mary Magdalene offers the key to a wisdom that was once lost or banned. These texts could be an important step in humanity's search for answers to universal questions. However, they have been concealed, forgotten, and banned throughout history. Perhaps the true wisdom has yet to fully emerge. If the teachings of the Gospel of Mary Magdalene had been accepted by the public, how would humanity and faith have changed? Why do you think the Church sought to prevent the spread of these teachings? Do you believe that true wisdom may have been hidden from us in the past? So why is the Gospel of Mary Magdalene so important today? How might the discovery of a lost or banned text affect our historical narratives? Now, with the alternative perspectives that these lost wisdoms offer, how have we gained a new perspective on Christianity and beliefs? The Gospel of Mary Magdalene and other Gnostic texts were part of the religious diversity of early Christianity. These texts are generally referred to as Gnostic Christianity and present a very different approach from traditional Christian beliefs. Gnostic Christianity contains significant differences in fundamental issues, such as the nature of God, the spiritual journey of humans, and the concept of salvation. Gnostic teachings embraced a salvation based on spiritual knowledge, gnosis. According to this view, humans can only unite with God through an inner enlightenment and profound knowledge beyond the material world. This perspective posed a serious threat to the religious leaders of the time, as the Church needed a more centralized and dogmatic belief structure to control the masses. The Gospel of Mary Magdalene, as a Gnostic text, advocates that individuals should strive for spiritual discovery and reach inner wisdom. This teaching supported the idea that people should establish a direct relationship with God without the intervention of the Church. The Church attempted to prevent the spread of such ideas and banned these texts. Today, academic studies on the Gospel of Mary Magdalene and other Gnostic texts offer a broader and deeper perspective on early Christian understanding. These studies reveal that the texts that were lost or banned could fundamentally change what we know about Christianity. For example, some research emphasizes that Jesus' teachings were not solely aimed at saving people, but also at spiritually enlightening them and leading them through a process of inner transformation. Strong expressions can be found in the Gospel of Mary Magdalene and other Gnostic texts, suggesting that Jesus imparted true wisdom. This provides a much deeper understanding than the teachings established by the Church. As the academic community continues to examine these texts, we are discovering that the boundaries between Christianity and spiritual teachings are more complex and flexible than previously understood. The discovery of the Gospel of Mary Magdalene not only affected religious teachings, but also had the potential to transform societal structures. It raised significant questions about the role of women in society and their place in religious life. Historically, the Church excluded women from religious leadership and tried to prevent the spread of such texts. However, the Gospel of Mary Magdalene argues that women, too, can contribute to spiritual leadership and teachings. The fact that Mary Magdalene was Jesus' closest follower and teacher provides a powerful example that questions women's rights in religious narratives. Today, the role of women in religious leadership and teaching is being rediscussed. The Gospel of Mary Magdalene has led to a reevaluation of the barriers that prevent women from guiding religious authority and the transmission of wisdom. The traditionally male-dominated structures in Christianity and other religious systems are being questioned once again with the emergence of this text. If the teachings of the Gospel of Mary Magdalene had been widely accepted in early Christianity, it is thought that the Christian world might have taken a very different shape. The teachings that the Church systematically banned and suppressed could have encouraged people to embark on a more individual spiritual journey. Christianity might have turned into a belief system based on personal inner discovery and mystical experiences. This could have been a perspective parallel to modern spiritual teachings that embrace the idea of direct experience and personal wisdom, aiming to free people from dependence on certain religious dogmas, or institutions. Had the Gospel of Mary Magdalene gained wider acceptance, Christianity could have become more of a journey where everyone individually explores their relationship with God, rather than a centralized institution. This would have been a very different understanding from the current form of historical Christianity. In today's digital age, as information becomes more accessible, the rediscovery of lost or suppressed knowledge has gained significant importance. The emergence of the Gospel of Mary Magdalene and other Gnostic texts offers not only historical insight, but also valuable spiritual and philosophical heritage. These teachings shed light on the wisdom that comes from the depths of human history. Modern readers studying the Gospel of Mary Magdalene have discovered that these texts may transcend the narrow limits offered by Christianity and can reshape the way people relate to God in a broader, deeper, and more personal way. This development brings important understanding not only regarding religious beliefs, but also regarding humanity's universal nature and spiritual journey. The Gospel of Mary Magdalene emerges as a lost source of wisdom, completely overlooked by the Church and history books. Mary's teachings and the deep knowledge contained within this hidden text were truths that many people and institutions have tried to obscure throughout history. However, this hidden narrative has now resurfaced through modern research. So, what did this lost path really offer us? And will the light it showed us remain in the dark, or will it one day be accepted by all of humanity? In this video, we explored the lost wisdom of the Gospel of Mary Magdalene and its hidden place in Christian history. We saw that the Gospel could have profound spiritual and societal impacts. We discussed why the Church suppressed this text and the importance of Gnostic teachings. In light of all this information, we considered that Mary Magdalene's role and teachings may still be a secret that needs to be brought into the light today. What do you think? How could the teachings of the Gospel of Mary Magdalene have affected the development of Christianity? Do you think Mary had a much bigger role in Jesus' life than we've been told? If the Gospel of Mary Magdalene had been accepted by the Church, would Christianity have taken a different path? If you found this video interesting, please share your thoughts with us. Discuss your ideas and opinions about this video in the comments section. Don't forget to subscribe to help us create more content for you. Also, if you like the video, you'll help spread this type of content. In our upcoming videos, we'll continue to explore deep topics like this. So subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications, and join us on this mysterious journey. Historical narratives are always the stories written by the victors. However, sometimes lost knowledge resurfaces, causing us to question everything we thought we knew. Who knows, maybe the Gospel of Mary Magdalene will once again open the doors to a forgotten path that shapes today's society.